John Thompson, president and founder of United Science extraktLAB and Nemaji Manufacturing. Welcome to our tour. It's a live tour. We're going live. Some of the items that we're going to be covering today, basically all from grinding all the way through distillation. I don't know if we're not going to have enough time to cover like post-processing from basically broad spectrum all the way into formulations, but I'll touch on them along the way. Really glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. It's kind of a good way to really get to know us. Just to give you an idea about our different brands, we have United Sciences, our parent company, and we have under that several different equipment brands. We put people into the business of extracting hemp and marijuana. This includes the extraktLAB. It includes clearStill, drain Droyd. It includes Pure 99, which is a chromatography system, HWLAB. We have different brands of different equipment, and really we're all focused on basically providing the customer with the greatest amount of equipment that all works together so that you don't have problems with processing. So this is our facility. We're approximately, this facility is about 76,000 square feet. We're occupying in terms of our demo facility, right around 30,000, 35,000, something like that. So we're in half of the building. The other half of the building is basically going to be built out for packaging, like different types of packaging. So we basically also use this facility as our means of doing R&D. So it's a really great thing. Before you guys receive equipment or before you guys receive a consulting piece of package, we'll test it here before anything. So this is our facility. Typically you'd come in, you would check in, you get your badge. And I'm going to grab my water and my phone because it's just that time of year. So let's go on this way. These are our brands, Cal-Leaf and Cuts. We also have a brand called Holus, which basically produces, vapors, tinctures, lotions and things like that. Always good to keep up the cleanliness in this day and age. So we have that here. But welcome to our facility. This is kind of our entrance. We wanted always to emphasize that our production processes and procedures are based on GMP. We're certified by the state of Wisconsin under a GMP label. We also have a USDA certificate. So we have processes and procedures that allow us to stamp USDA organic certified. That's kind of a cool thing about this facility. We started out building this, as a demo facility. So it kind of went in fits and spurts. I think you'll see it in here. Come on in. So this is basically the entrance. We just follow most of the GMP requirements for PPE. And we do that specifically to keep, hazardous contamination, cross-contamination from room to room. We don't have material corridors here, nor do we have personnel corridors here. So that's maybe a little bit different than some of you guys are used to. We just have a main material corridor and we keep it nice and clean. So come on this way. I'm not going to go into a lot of the packaging, but that room is just filled up with packaging. We have a tincture fill line in there. We have a vapor fill line in there, labeling lines in there. Give you a little bit of background here on me. I am a PhD analytical chemist. We've built, facilities all over the world, basically for customers, got them up and running, commissioned them, done training on them. So that's kind of what we do. So I'll put on my bonnet. They even give me my own coat. So we don't wear booties here, which is really nice. So what we're going to do is walk through the process from the beginning to the end. And in order to do that, I need to walk through our entire facility and then go to the receiving side. We'll show you how receiving happens. Then we'll go to some grinding, and we'll show you our decarb processes that we use occasionally, and then I'll show you some of the equipment. So let's go do that. This way. One thing I like to stop, might as well do this right now. Our laboratory, we have on-site laboratory. We both use third-party and on-site laboratories. The reason we have that is because we need to know what unknowns are. And if you have a sample come in and you don't want to know what an unknown is in there, you can use the laboratory to kind of figure that out. So we have approximately $2 million into this laboratory. We have what's called a QTOF for basically unknowns. We have triple quad for doing pesticides. We have GCMS for doing terpenes and terpene identification. And then we also have solvents. We also do microbials, metals. We do all of that in this facility here, along with purity, potency, and identity. So it's kind of a cool place. I guess we could start the tour with the laboratory. Might as well go in here. Come on in. So this is kind of what a laboratory looks like. Yeah, this is what a laboratory looks like. I mean, you have, it looks like any other laboratory actually. On that side, we're doing more of our microbials. So we have the rooms compartmentalized. Purity, potency, identity, just some simple HPLCs. These are workhorses of the industry. But they're quite old. These are 1100s. You can use those. 1200s is the new Agilent stuff. We also have some of that equipment up over here. So back there is a GCMS that's used for, basically for terpenes and identifying terpenes. And then we have a solvents analysis for identifying, what solvents are in there for residual solvents. So that would include like ethanol or any other solvent that we have. Pretty standard stuff here, flammables cabinet and so on and so forth. It's pretty good. This is our sampling analytical station for our LIM system. I'll go into that a little bit at the very beginning. Sanitary, obviously, every room should have its sanitary, or every area should have its own sanitary. So that's something as you go through the rooms, you'll be able to see. Come on this way. We have formulations going on in here, some R&D, different formulations. We also have a facility here that's a big freezer, and we use it for winterization and things like that. Now I'm just going to walk through here pretty rapid, like I'm going this way. Now I'll kind of walk through it. This is where extraction occurs. Here's where the drain droids and all the winterization dewaxing occurs. This is where isolate production occurs in here. These are just one of our vaults. We have several vaults for materials and in process, quarantine, and then also in here grinding apparatus. So you really have to start off on the right foot when it comes to receiving materials into your facility. You want to know, okay, first of all, what the weight of that material is. You want to know who received it, and you want to know a whole bunch of data associated with the receiving event. You also want to be able to sample it, send that sample off to the laboratory so that you can know whether to take it out of quarantine or not. The things that would take it out of quarantine would be, okay, it's okay on pesticides. Yeah, it doesn't have any solvents in it. We've received materials with solvents in it, believe it or not. Does it have the potency that the C of A that the farmer gave us had? Does it have that potency? So this is what we use for our receiving station. It really forms the basis of our quality station. It's called the IGW. I give you an idea here what that looks like. You have basically you have a dashboard here. And then you can also select all the different processes. In this case, we're going to be doing a receiving process. I have to log in here every time I do a new process. That just shows that, hey, data has integrity to it. And here I can show you basically starting a process. What's cool about it is that I can assign equipment to this. So anything that's in this work cell, if you will, has equipment assigned to it. Okay, and in this case, we have some scales assigned to it. We select the scales, and then we also select whether or not it's calibrated or cleaned. That's where we're taking a lot of the records that are associated with like cleaning and calibration and doing daily updates on them. And that's all goes into a database. So it's pretty nice along those lines. I'm going to just press next here. And it goes into a questionnaire that has to do with, okay, who's the manufacturer? What is the vendor lot number? What is the material? You can use this to, for example, receive standards, chemicals in, if you want to trace the lot of ethanol in, if you want to trace things like the lot of obviously like a bag of this stuff, which would be, you know, hemp, or if you have different types of trim or whatever. So it's kind of gives you, it's a full system. What's nice about tracking your solvents is, especially if you have things like expiration dates on your excipients, those are things that you need to track. And then different material forms, whether it's an ingredient or in process, who it's delivered by. I'll just go ahead and print that out there. What this species is and whether or not it's organic. It's important that you have, if you're an organic facility, that you have be able to trace in separate streams with separate equipment, separate cleaning processes, your organic from your non-organic. So that's what that is. Also, there's a visual inspection tied to this step. The visual inspection is okay, is it free from foreign matter and debris? That's the key criteria. You can also put in notes in there. For example, if it fails a visual inspection, from this step, this receiving step, it automatically goes into quarantine. So that's pretty cool. We also have a list of documents, SOPs that are tied to this. And you can also select and upload certificates or C of A's certificates to that. I'll give you an example here. I mean, this is some sample here of some product that we would get in. You can see it's got some buds in it. It's got some sticks. This is a very typical sample. You can see some of this has been, it's got some fan leaf in there. These buds are pretty nice. They got, I think that this is like a 5 or 6% material, something along those lines. So what we would do is we would basically take this, we put it on the scale. In this case, I'm gonna tear it like this, put it on here. So it's 17 pounds approximately. I'm gonna print that off, and the tear weight here. I have different container profiles. I add that in and I save it. Then it prints out this, this barcode here. The barcode then goes on the container and it now knows what that is. I'm gonna go ahead and close the lot. Once I close that lot, I'm gonna download the receipt and then I will print this receipt. So the receipt can go with this, or it can go into your quality system, or it can go into a notebook. What's nice about that is it's got a receipt. It prints out, and you're able to really use that as a traveler as it goes through the system. So it's pretty nice. Now, this system also works for every process. It's basically the same thing. You got materials in, you test your materials. You got materials in and product out. So you're weighing your materials in, you're weighing your product out, you're weighing your waste out. You're basically knows that I did it and that I'm in this lab and in this facility here. So yeah, and then you can see it outputs nice reports. So this can go with it along with barcodes. You can use this to track and trace all your materials along with what test information goes with it. The other thing that you can do here with this is pretty nice. I'm not going to spend too much more time on it, but I did want to show you that it's possible to, for example, log the waste. If there was waste as you're sweeping everything up, you can print out a barcode. The waste will be attached to this lot, so it knows, hey, that's how much waste came from this lot. The other thing that you can do is sample, which is pretty cool. It has a sampling station, so if I switch my station over to a sampling station, I log back in. This is typically a sample lot, and you can see these are all current processes that are pending. In other words, there's people who are waiting for their samples. What's nice about this, and I had mentioned this when I was in the laboratory information system, it's pretty nice because I'm able to really take a sample here. I'm able to tell the laboratory exactly which tests that I need, and it's also tied to this lot. So the results here are really attached to the batch record right from the beginning. So it's pretty cool. And I could go through this process real quick here. I'll show you what it looks like. I'll select some equipment. I'll select some actions here and tell you, okay, now it knows that I'm using this particular equipment. I'm going to scan a container. So I'm going to scan this container that I'm going to take it from. And then I'm going to take my sample, put some sample in there. And I need to tell it which station I'm at. I'm going to put in a tear weight of 20. And then I can select my test methods. Okay, I want a moisture done on this. I want a GCMS done on this because I want to know the terpene profile. I want to know I want to know the potency. So I'll save that, and it should print out basically a sample barcode. That sample barcode goes on here. That goes off to the laboratory. Pretty slick. So once the laboratory gets this, they go ahead, they use their beeper, and they find out what the sample is, what the requirement is for, okay, who requested it, what they requested. Then they do the sample tests, and then they put it into the system so that it's all matched to the batch record. All right, you guys are welcome to answer or ask questions, sorry, and we have people who are all ready to answer your questions. So go ahead and start up the chat. The grinding area, basically, we don't have these running right now because they're quite loud when they are running, but we use a couple different types of grinding methods. We use a hammer mill. That's one way to do it. We also have a handing field, which is a cone mill. And sometimes we use those in combination. One will be, this kind of gets it in rough quantity, so rough kind of granular quantity so that we can basically decarb it. And then this kind of gets it down to a really fine powder so that it goes into extraction. You can keep the throughput up. The smaller the powder is, the better the extraction actually. So some people ask how big the powder needs to be. We typically say anywhere between 200 and 500 microns. So basically we're taking this stuff and we're bringing it into a nice powder. In the case of the hammer mill, it doesn't really get down to a very nice powder. So, and it typically has a large particle size distribution. So that's the reason why we use the cone mill grinder as a post-processing. And it's really quick, it's really fast. You can see we have it hooked up to a cyclone. The cyclone here basically sucks it right out of this room and into a cyclone on the other side. So it's all ready, it goes into one of these big bins. So these are typically the bins that we use for decarb material and for ground material. And we also do a lot of our dust processes in this room. The room is held at a negative pressure relative to the whole entire hallway, both hallways. And so what's nice about that is it just keeps all the dust inside of this room from the standpoint of HVAC pressure. So we can come out this way again. This is the cyclone that I was talking about. You can see what's nice about this particular cyclone is that it has a system where you don't have to have it hooked up really. It kind of just falls out of there. Normally you'd have to have it like a vacuum seal on there. In this case, you don't have to have that. It's that Oneida system. It's really nice, really works out well. You can kind of see here's the kind of stuff that comes out of it. So you get a nice nice ground stuff like that, and that's all ready for basically decarb. And so that's basically grinding. Now what you saw in there is perfectly fine for a ton to ton and a half a day. You can really go through the material very quickly. You don't need to have, oh yeah, no, we don't freeze the cannabis before the grind. You can do that, but certainly you don't have to do that. So what you see in there though is very typical for a 1 ton a day or 1.5 to 2 tons a day system. If you use the hammer mills, you can really do a lot of material. So you can see some of these grinder apparatuses, they're on conveyors, and they have a lot of, they're just a huge apparatus. We haven't needed it because we can go through a ton in a very, very short time with just the equipment that you saw. And that's pretty inexpensive equipment. The handing field is more expensive because it's all stainless. So if you're worried about GMP, the handing field is a good option for you guys. If you're, the hammer mill is also a really good option. You just need to have it in the stainless steel version to make it GMP. So yeah, that's it. If you grind it and you freeze it ahead of time, it's actually quite nice because it will break up into smaller particles. So we used to grind it with liquid nitrogen, and that would work great. I mean, you get really, really small particles. It was awesome. But when you're doing tons of that per day, you don't want to have to go through all of that, you know, liquid nitrogen. So we don't do it anymore. Okay, believe it or not, those 6 ovens right there are perfectly fine to do a ton a day. You just have to have someone load them and deload them. And I think that that's, and basically this is also where we gather up all of our terpenes. So before they even hit any of the extractor or the extraction at all, we're gathering up gallons and gallons and gallons of terpenes. And that's pretty nice because they're not degraded. They're like fresh terpenes, and we use those downstream in our processes. So that's where we get our terpene stream. That's coming off of the vacuum. So basically we have a vacuum system hooked up to all those. We have a condenser system, and that's where we get all of our terpenes. So you do not have to decarb. We always get that question. You can, with the method, you can skip decarbing altogether. The only thing is that you won't be able to get out those nice terpenes that are pure and THC or CBD free, and so we like to do it that way, and we do that. That's how we do it. So, you're welcome to do it without, you don't have to do decarb. So, what is the best form to receive biomass? Yeah, I think probably in those big super sacks. That's a really great way. I mean, that's how we get it in, because it's it's in those sacks. You can fork them around. There are powder feeding systems and material feeding systems too that you can purchase that will really allow you to move those materials around if you don't want to handle them. In our case, we handle them because 5 tons a day is not a lot of material. So I would say that at the end of the day, we just handle them, and it's okay. If you wanted to eliminate all the labor associated with the handling, those material handling options are really great. So I would recommend them in that case. But the contribution to overall labor and the cost per gram is not very significant, so we don't do it. Let's go this way. So this is the extraction side right here. So these are the 140 machines, essentially. We have kind of added on a larger version of them called the 180. Basically, the throughput is double that of the 140. If you can kind of go right over here, and I'll show you what it looks like. So this line here does approximately like a ton a day. So you're always putting in more and more materials. You can see that the fluid here we have up on the top, that's where all of the CO2 is coming in. So we have a CO2 coming in, it comes in through the pump pumps it up, and then this is where we put in the materials. And we run these shotgun style, so while this one's running, this one's being prepped, and we go back and forth. Once the oils are dissolved, then they're put into these 3 vessels here. On our 180, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a little bit, the vessels are a lot larger, and we have 1 less vessel. So in this case, we have 3 vessels. Also, a couple features here on this machine. We have a recycler that's on the other side. We also have a barcode reader. That's for basically scanning into the system all the metadata. So you have a barcode. The barcode will tell you, okay, what lot it's from, what batch it's from. You can also scan yourself in. You can scan the equipment in, and that will all go into the batch record. So it's pretty convenient. You also have receipts for people who need to have paper track records. So any changes to methods, any changes to any of the pieces of equipment or metadata on here. And then also all the runs are basically printed out here one by one. What's awesome about this system is that it's basically totally method driven. So you can put any method you want in there. If you want to run decarb method, you can run a decarb method. If you want to run a, like a non-decarb method or a terpene method or a terpene pull, you can also do that. Also with this system, we have an optional ethanol injector. We've done that from the day one. So since 2014, we've been doing that. Sometimes people like to add ethanol to their stream, and it'd be food grade ethanol, obviously, basically to make it either go faster as a co-solvent, or they use it in a cleaning method. So you can load up the cleaning method, turn on the ethanol pump, and basically it'll start cleaning itself. So a couple different things on maintenance. You need to maintain the machine. We have a maintenance scheduler right in here. What's nice about that is it'll remind you, and it has certain intervals. So if you set it up where it has a maintenance every month, you would go through the maintenance schedule. The operator has to press OK in order to make it run. So it's pretty nice on the maintenance side. There's also audio and visual alarms, so you can tell when your equipment is turned on and turned off. And that really makes it very convenient for someone who's doing like a ton a day. So typically one person will do a line. So we got this line right here. One person does 6 machines, and that's about a ton a day and right around that. So kind of just show you a little bit of an example of some of the materials that are coming out. Yeah, you can see it coming out there. What happens is, so it's nice and yellow right now, and it can be super bright yellow. This is the first fraction, so it's slightly more amber than the other fractions. What's nice about that is, you get that stuff out. It's more of a little bit of a waxy fraction. That's good enough, Tommy. Yeah, get you an idea what it looks like. Also, the stuff smells really good. So I always like to smell it afterwards. It smells good. So anyway, that's how that looks. And then after a while, basically what will happen is, the oxygen gets in there, reacts with the terpenes that are left in there, and it turns a little darker. So that's what that is. So that's what hemp extract looks like. I'm going to take you back here, show you a little bit more. This is how we load the equipment. So everything is pre-loaded into these bags, and we do that in the dusty room back there. So from the grinding room or from the decarb room, we added all of the materials into these bags right here. So then they can just flip. They can just basically be put in there. You want to show me how to do that? Yeah. So then you have 3 of those bags. That's enough. And then you have 3 of those bags. You put them in there one at a time. You take and you put this on. You want to show me how to do that? Yeah, and then you tighten it up. You hook it up. There you go. That's typically how we do it. So then all he does is press 2 buttons on there. This thing is running. This one's running right now. You can see it's at 5,000 PSI. This is at 0 PSI. So this one's running, and basically to start it up, you just press one of the buttons, press the start button, and he's ready to go. So it's pretty sweet. Let's go down here. I'll show you a little bit more. So you hear that pumping going on. That's basically money being made. Pretty good. This is a piece of equipment that we made really to condition the CO2. A lot of times when you get the CO2 in, it's either cold or too hot, doesn't have the right pressure. So we made this piece of equipment. It's called the CO2 Cage, really to condition. So it holds the CO2 at a certain temperature. And so as a result of that, you can see we're at 875 on the pressure. We also have a chart, so we can chart that out, see exactly what it is. We also have a CO2 alarm, and each one of these pieces of equipment has an independent CO2 alarm, and then also one in here. What's nice about that is you can kind of see, if there's any leaks or anything. Also, it's filled up by weight. We have a load cell in each of the legs, and what's nice about that is you don't have to worry about pressure. Basically, you're not filling by pressure, you're filling by weight. So you always know how much you have, which is pretty nice. So that's this setup here. These particular systems we have another pump that really feeds this system from a bulk tank. We pay about 4.5 cents a pound for CO2, which makes it really low cost for us to actually operate. And that's a big advantage, I think, of the CO2 in general. It's a low cost of operating. You really don't have, you're not paying for a lot of ethanol losses, for example. You can turn around here, and this is basically a drain droid. We call it the matrix droid because it kind of looks like the matrix a little bit. But yeah, basically, when you have a venting off of each of these systems, what you see is they all go into here. Any kind of condensation or anything that's left over will kind of solidify in here, and then it goes down into that pot there. What's nice about that is you're always able to have clean, pure CO2 if there's any venting, and that goes out right here. So that's outside. You don't really get any, very little smell, very little smell. This is great. You want to be kind to your neighbors. So, and then back here, this is would be an example. You know, so these cables here really service these lines. So as they go forward, that's how they roll. All right, let's go back. You can see we have IGWs really placed throughout the facility, and each room has its own IGW, which is pretty nice because it's really the central location at which you know, all the data is taken for weight in, weight out, yield data, all your labor data is also in there, so it's pretty neat. This also is a room right here. It's a distillation room. We have basically, this is where we distill everything. Before we get to that distillation, though, I'd like to show you the drain droid room that we got going on here. So this is a room that basically we use to de-wax. So we got a bunch of drain droids there. What's nice about this room is it's all set up where all the vacuum and all of the air and everything is set up. So it's on the wall and it's not a lot of tubes. So you can kind of see what's going on over here. So he's basically, so when you winterize your fluids, you know, the stuff that comes out of the extractor has some waxes in it, and you want to get those waxes out. So typically what you do is you take food grade ethanol, you put food grade ethanol in there, and then you stick it in the freezer. And essentially it precipitates the waxes, and then you filter them out. Now, there are a couple different ways to run your methods. You can also run subcritical methods. With the subcritical methods, you get a lot less waxes, but you still kind of have to do a little bit of de-waxing. This part of the process does not take long at all. So, you know, as long as you have a couple of these or 3 or 4 of these running, it's just like a snap. We don't ever have a bottleneck here. We have one person doing it and doing it about half time. The other thing that we have is a condenser system here. That's so that the room doesn't fill up with any ethanol vapors from your vacuum. You know, so a lot of times people have their vacuum systems, you know, in their room, and it's spewing out a lot of ethanol. And this is a system here that basically prevents that from happening. So there's really no ethanol smell. It's pretty nice. So I want to show you a couple other things here on our tour. This is a clearStill. This is our new piece of equipment for distillation. I kind of wanted to bring you through it because it's really performing well. Let me tell you some of the features here that we have. We have an ultrasonic sensor here that basically tells you how much fluid is in there to be distilled. We have basic pumps here. This is a white film area. So we're taking dark fluids and making them into distillate. And then what's awesome about this particular system, it has 2 stills, one right after another. So you can do 2 passes all at the same time. What's also nice about the system is that this is where the roughing pump is. The roughing pump, basically a scroll pump, a dry scroll pump. So you don't have to do a lot of the maintenance items that you would with an oil pump or pump that has oil. You don't have to switch out all the terpenes and everything. It also has 2 turbos on it. So you can really turn the turbo off, and if you want to do a first pass on this side, it's got a bypass on it all built in, and you can use the turbo on the second. So that's the basics of the system. And this is an HMI panel. It's basically methods driven, just like all of our other pieces of equipment. So you can put up a method load a method, it'll run the method, all your temperatures, so you don't really have to mess around with them. Once you put in all the temperatures that you want with your method, you just run the method. It also has all of the barcode items, so you can scan in all of your different distillates. You can scan in your people. You can scan in all your calibrations. So that's pretty nice. Also has a paper trail. So those are different types of things that we have specifically to give you the data that you need to really run your business. This is a Fractron right here. Basically, this thing is filled up with ethanol, and ethanol, kind of either ethanol or ethanol liquor, which means that it has, some crude in it that's been, you need to get the ethanol out. And normally what you would do is you would use rotovaps to get that ethanol and recover it. In this case, the problem with the rotovap is it's not continuous. It's kind of discontinuous. So we brought this thing. It's a very simple piece of equipment. It's basically three stills. And you can imagine, like in a distillery, you might see a big tower. Okay, that's what this is, only it's got 3 of them in a row instead of up. So you don't need to have a super height on your stills. And the fluid here, the ethanol and stuff comes in here. It gets pumped. The pump brings it up to the top. This is where the evaporation occurs. It's a falling film evaporator here. And then this is where the condensation takes place. So once it gets done here, it goes into that pump and then it gets pumped to the next stage. What's nice about this system is that each of the evaporators, you can have a different temperature on, which is great, because then you can, as the oil gets thicker and thicker, you can increase the temperature, make it more aggressive essentially as it walks through the system. Also, it's continuous. So once you have fluid in your inlet reservoir, the fluid coming out of it is just continuous. So you can keep on putting more and more on your inlet and get more on your outlet side. Our winterized crude coming out. We also have a couple. This is a C1D1 certified piece of equipment. It's UL698A is the number. We have a Z-purge on all the electronics, so it can go into any type of system and not have to worry about hazardous locations. So that's our Fractron. And we started off with a bunch of rotovaps, and we've kind of realized, okay, that's not as efficient as we want to be. So then we got one of these, and now we're going to build another couple of them to go into our demo facility, just to show that we can go through lots of ethanol. This one will do about 40 gallons per hour, approximately 40 to 50 gallons per hour, depending on how fast you run it. This is our 180 machine. You can see it's a little bit bigger than our 140 machines. What's nice about this system is that it doesn't have the same issues that a lot of the early CO2 systems had with pumps. Pumps always tend to be the main problem associated with maintenance. And we're using these called Lua pumps. They're really great. They are very low maintenance. I wouldn't worry about maintenance on your pumps. You're probably going to have to look at it, maintain the pumps 1 time per year. That's not a lot. We have 2 HMI panels on this particular piece of equipment. This is, again, the runtime panel. So this is where you would load up all your methods, monitor things. This is just a panel that's used to understand what all of the different pressures are. And we also have larger collectors. So you can go longer and longer and longer without having to switch out and dump your collectors. So, and then we also have on the other side of that a recycling system. We decided to go to 2 basically because when you're in high throughput mode, usually you don't fractionate. With the 140, it does have the ability to fractionate into 3 different fractions. The other thing that we changed on this machine relative to the 140 machine is we went away from a lot of the dial gauges, basically because we wanted to have a good sweeping flow through the system. So we decided to do with digital gauges instead. So that's basically what we have here. It's a pretty serious system. You can run it on shifts that are, a lot of people, it's very tough to run 3 shifts. So I recommend you run, start off, crawl, walk, run. If you're going to start up with a facility, you want to make sure that you really have everybody trained to really make your double shifts go. So start off with 1 shift, start off with, maybe 1 or 2 140s, get all your processes together, all your documentation together. And of course that we will help you do that along with all the training and everything. to get you up and running. We put a lot of people into the business. We have people who go around, that's all they do is train and install, and commission facilities. We put in to business people with small systems, just doing like 100 pounds a day, all the way up to 5 tons a day. So the 5 tons a day, you're probably gonna need to do some, some work on engineering and things like that, but that's why we're here, to help you guys through that process. If you guys ever wanna come see this in person, you guys are welcome. I mean, it's always a work in progress, but we try to keep it always up and running. We're always processing every day. We're always also putting in the latest equipment in here. You'll find that extraktLAB people are in here all the time, basically tuning up their processes. We're working a lot right now on basically different materials for separations. So that's kind of cool. That's a lot of fun. I want to basically go through a couple things relative to ethanol versus CO2. The main thing there, everybody wants to know what the differences are. The main thing really is chemical contamination, cross-contamination. In my view, a lot of people who use denatured ethanol, those denaturants always end up in the end extract. You can see them all. And of course, the equipment that we have in our laboratory, of course, we do see them all. So if you're using any kind of ethanol with a denaturant, we'd encourage you to just not use that as a smokable product or an ingestible product. The other thing would be, if you do use ethanol, you should be using food-grade ethanol. I know that in some jurisdictions, it's actually against the law not to use food-grade ethanol, and I think that that's probably a pretty good idea. So CO2 doesn't have any of those residuals, so that's one of the main benefits of CO2. But the other big benefit is the low cost of the CO2 itself. We're buying it at, just dirt cheap, 4.5 cents a pound. So the operating costs are really low. Our calculations and basically our own operation here that has done a bunch of ethanol, we're looking at approximately 5 to 10x less per gram to process with CO2. So that's the kind of thing that you need to be thinking about. How do you define a process, a day or 24 hours? Okay, so you can define that. We'll work with you to figure that out. It's in terms of what you need for your, what you have for labor, how many shifts you guys want to run. But typically, throughputs, we always calculate them on a 24-hour time period. And you're welcome to talk with us about that. We recommend that you, again, crawl, walk, run with your facility. So when you start out, you're not going to be running 3 shifts. You're going to be running like 1 shift. You're going to master 1 shift, then you're going to take another week or 2 weeks and then put on another shift. So it'll be a crawl, walk, run, and we're here for you through that whole entire process. Oh yeah, one other thing here, I guess we can kind of take a look at this. I didn't get to show you this because I forgot, but this is what the clearStill does. It takes this dark, this is like winterized oil, and it brings it to this nice clear stuff. And you can see that some of it you can see like crystals starting to form in there. I don't know if you can see that, but basically the crystals are because you've elevated it above 80%, so it's over 80% potent, and it starts to crystallize out. So that's pretty cool. You can also see that you see the pictures like on Instagram or something like that. What they typically do is they'll put a light behind it, and then you can see it's nice bright golden yellow. That's basically why it looks this way. It's because it's so thick. That's why it looks like amber color. So anyway, I think that's it. So post attendee URL to get a free ebook on hemp and cannabis. All right. So they have that on the, okay. We've written a lot of materials. You can go and either reach out to us, talk to our sales guys. They're very well knowledge. They have a lot of knowledge. And also we have an ebooks. We got lots of ebooks. We got a hemp processing guide ebook. And we also have some white papers written on ethanol and ethanol extraction. So with that, I would thank you for joining us, and please come and see us. We're happy to have you around. Yeah, so take care and have a good day.
Are you stuck in your hemp or cannabis business? Are you not reaching your processing goals? Here at extraktLAB, we offer a free 20-minute CBD jam session. A CBD jam session is a conversation with an industry expert, not a sales call. A conversation where you can talk to us about whatever issues you are having right now and where you are stuck. We will help you uncover any issues you are currently having in your business, create a solution to fit your current scale, develop a future scale-up plan based on your needs, and help you make your processing goals a reality, all while getting your business plan back on track. Schedule your free 20-minute CBD jam session at 1-651-600-0036. Again, that number is 1-651-600-0036.